Coming to you live from the basement of an abandoned training facility where we talk about fighting, training, and events. It's the Fight Mixer Show, where you can hear about all the local and world combat sports happenings. Get ready. It's time to gear up and square up because we're going live on the Fight Mixer Show.
Yeah, buddy. Welcome to another great edition of the podcast, boys and girls, children of all ages, all my bros and hoes in different area codes. We are here. Happy Thursday, everybody. We are at the season finale of 2020. We are all fucked, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, Gabe?
Worst show ever. Worst show ever.
This one? We haven't started
Worst
yet.
show right now. No. I'm saying the show 2020. Worst show ever.
Oh, yeah. 2020 proves that you're never too young for your first Vietnam flashback, in my humble opinion. Just saying. And that debate just like, yeah, totally. And that debate was like the tip of the iceberg. You know what I'm saying? This election is going to be the tip of the iceberg.
I being an American right now is an interesting time. We're the international joke.
I mean, Gabe, Canada needs black belts, and you can teach them a thing or two about a thing or two. So just consider it, you know.
Yeah, we got white belts, black belts.
I'm gonna be going to New Zealand. Who knows?
New Zealand. I heard good things about New Zealand. I heard good things.
I like New Zealand.
Oh yeah, dude. So we're gonna have Don Frye on. He's an actor. He fought in Pride, UFC. Fought all over the place. He's an MMA pioneer. Gabe, have you ever ran across Don Frye in your travels?
Actually, you know, it's funny that you should bring that up, David, because in 2007 there was this organization that was putting on the fight in San Francisco, and it was a shit show from the beginning. And the day of the fight, it got canceled. And the promoter basically promised all this money and basically reneged on it. And I was in my hotel room at the time, but Don Frye was in the house and got into an altercation with Dog the Bounty Hunter's son's bodyguard. If you can figure that one out. It was a full-on brawl through the lobby of this hotel in San Francisco. I missed it by about 20 minutes, but Don Frye was there, and hopefully we can talk about that tonight.
What were you doing, and why'd you miss it by 20 minutes, sir? Let's talk about that one.
I was with a friend, and I was getting her prepared for the evening. She was,
I knew it.
What does that mean?
What do you mean? It's you get to ensure that everyone's showered and prepared to go out for the evening. You have to, take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. And
come on, real town. Come on, real town.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh my God,
this is 07. 07. I was a single man, and I was a pro fighter, and it was sprint time. But yeah.
And a single pro fighter does what a single pro fighter does, right?
Can you just imagine being Gabe back in like 07 in his prime? Like, let's just I want a Vulcan mind trip the audience, because I heard like a snippet of like information, but like imagine being Gabe, a bad motherfucker. You're in the UFC. Like I heard a snippet of the crazy times and the crazy adventures that Gabe went through, but just like Vulcan mind trip yourselves as the audience to being Gabe back in MMA, where it's like, oh my God, you're a cage fighter. Holy shit, you're like alpha male. You know, like Back in the day where like people were not educated, there was not many MMA fighters around. There were few and far in between. Being Gabe, going around Las Vegas. I mean, the stories you must have in your back pocket, sir. This is why we need to have an episode dedicated to you.
Oof. I got to tell you, there are a lot of stories and there are a lot of pros that I have to omit from the conversation to keep them out of any issue that they might have. But yeah, I listen. I that career time, I lived. I definitely did some things and had I lived it up. Let's put it that way.
And then, oh hello, hello,
hello, hi.
So and then you ended up getting married, and then the boss came into town, and then all that went to shit, and then you became a great dad, and now a teacher, and
no, I didn't go to shit. I'm actually very, very happy with my life right now. I'm thankful to have done all of that. Like most guys in their 40s are like, I need to get a sports car. I need to get an 18-year-old girlfriend. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Life is good.
Yeah, you got the life. You have a great wife, great kid, and obviously running a great school and doing all the right things and life goals. #. So
no, I'm genuinely I'm happy and I'm thankful that I got all of that out of my system. And there was a lot to get out of my system, but I'm thankful to have done it and come out the other end unscathed. I lost a lot of friends due to drugs and alcohol or just accidents. And you know what? To go through that period and come out the other side I'm very fortunate.
And back in those days, you almost lost another friend, Tito Ortiz, because I heard about a legendary brawl with him and what was that Lightning? That gentleman, Lee Murray.
Lee Murray.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lesser known story to people.
That you know what? That definitely falls under MMA lore. But from everyone I talked to, including a couple people who were there, Tito got his ass lit up.
So just to give you guys who are not in the know or not initiated, and this is all nerd shit, but back in the day, Tito Ortiz was heavily protected, not just from fighters, because Chuck Liddell was his bodyguard, but by the UFC promotion itself and marketing and branding him. So he got into a bar fight. Matt Hughes was there, and Gabe, obviously you lived through this I'm living vicariously through you, but Matt Hughes was there, and he got into a fight with Lee Murray. And Lee Murray is a very dangerous cat from the good old Europe. And apparently it was a bar fight. He stepped to Lee Murray, and Lee Murray apparently beat the shit out of him. And that's fights. That was one of the more legendary bar fights and some of the crazier times that happened in mixed martial arts like lore back in those days.
Interestingly enough, Lee Murray was part of one of the biggest heists in UK history, like massive $1 million heists, and then went on the run to Morocco. I mean that's movie shit. The Lee Murray story is movie shit, but he absolutely. I heard from multiple people from that were there that he knocked Tito's lights out, son.
And how did that fight get escalated? Like, how did he get involved with Lee Murray and like get into that altercation?
I think they were there for Cage Rage, I believe is the organization, and Cage Rage at the time was trying to like be the top tier European organization. And so actually Lee Murray fought Anderson Silva in Cage Rage. Anderson beat Lee Murray, but it was a good fight, like a really good fight. But I believe Tito was out there for promotional stuff. And this is when, Tito's big head was able to fit into most planes. And from my understanding, it just got heated and, there was obviously alcohol involved. And look at two fighters, they get it on in the streets. There's no rules, there's no referee, and from my understanding, Lee Murray gave him a 3-piece, and that was it.
Lee Murray's like one of those underrated middleweights that like I'll always go back in the time and just wonder what could have been if he did not get arrested. And Gabe was absolutely right. He was a part of the biggest bank heist in European history. I mean, this guy, I knew he was insane. Like, I knew there was like a screw loose when he came to the ring in that Hannibal Lecter mask. And dude, the guy was a savage. The guy was a great striker, great on the ground, strong, fast, powerful, accurate striker. Like, that guy had some potential. Threw it all away with this bank heist.
Well, I mean, listen. If you're gonna go big, and that bank heist. I'm not gonna do it justice, but the story is something out of a movie. Like and from my understanding, like he used to hang out with undesirable groupings in the UK, anyways. So it wasn't a surprise that he was involved in something like that.
And just to give you guys like the kind of like the comparison, he's like the like what Mike Perry is right now. Mike Perry is like kind of like unruly. He goes on his own. It's kind of crazy. Lee Murray back in the day was your Mike Perry, to be honest with you. But Lee Murray was a little bit more crazy than Mike Perry.
But Lee Murray hang around with real proper gangsters.
Oh yeah,
like he was around like legitimate gangsters. Like and I don't think Mike Perry is ever I mean, look, he obviously gets in fights and he doesn't give a shit and he'll throw down, but it's different like being around, like for instance, like you know who Ensign Inoue is?
Yeah, of course.
Ensign, he hangs out with Yakuza, and Yakuza is a different, like there's not knucklehead shit happening with the Yakuza. And again, like if you're hanging out with like proper gangsters, it's a different level than going to a bar and getting in a fight.
But and if anybody is like, oh sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, and I think Lee Murray, maybe I feel skill set was a little bit better, especially the time frame versus Mike Perry.
Oh yeah. And if anybody doesn't know who Ensign Inoue is, watch his fight with Frank Shamrock in Pancras. It's worth the price of admission. It's one of the most bang out, dragged out brawls I've ever seen in my entire life. That was a crazy fucking fight. And so back,
it's not. It wasn't Pancras.
Oh, it wasn't Pancras? Well, what promotion was it?
I believe Valley Tudo is the name of the promotion.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. My fault.
Hey, I'm here to help.
Lee Murray is younger than Yoel Romero. Really? Wow.
Learn something new every day. I did not know that.
Oh, thank you, Jonathan. Good tidbit. But Gabe, I need to ask. Ask as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, you're gonna know this perspective better than anybody. So, from a fan perspective, Israel Adesanya, Israel Azalea, whatever his name is, but he's fought against Paulo Costa, and obviously I'm rooting for Costa because I want Paulo Costa is like a mix of Ricardo Arona and Vanderlei Silva put together. I want to see the Brazilian uprise again in mixed martial arts, and as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, I thought the strategy was going to be taking the blue belt into quicksand. And, Paulo Costa stood straight up outside the pocket and got teed off on. His leg got trashed. Like, take me through this fight. What do you think about this fight, Gabe?
So I think it was a previous strategy. I don't think Paulo Costa was here training with the black belts I'm under, John Awano. He was here about 3 months ago, and John said he is freakish strong and really, really good on the ground. That would be the proper strategy. But I mean, even Yoel Romero, look at how he fought Paulo Costa. Like it's a strange. You would expect that fight IQ would play a massive part in it, but a lot of the times you get caught up in the moment. And if there's something I don't know. I wasn't in his camp. I don't know what the strategy was, but that would be what if there's my takeaway would be that he just got caught up in the moment. And championship bouts, like you can have every strategy in the world. When the cage closes, like it's a different animal,
Yeah. And when they first came out and Paulo Costa stood right there outside and kept getting those leg kicks and kept taking those leg kicks. And Paulo Costa, he tried to pressure, try to cut off the cage, because I thought that was going to be the strategy. Cut off the cage from Israeli, give him no room to breathe, finally close the distance, bring him to the ground, maybe even shoot for a takedown. Jab, go into the pocket, shoot for a takedown. Maybe it could be a weak attempt, just to like maybe pull guard, just to get that guy on the ground, because he's a proficient striker, dangerous striker. He can strike you from all angles. He'll pick you apart. But what I noticed about with Paulo, like he was so content of just trying to bait Israeli to come into the pocket, trying to bait him, like taunt him, stick his tongue out, like trying to bait him and make him overcommit to Paulo Costa to like get that opening in, just let Israeli fall on his own sword. But like, you know, Paulo Costa is such a great fighter. I think he's just a terrible strategy. Great fighter, terrible strategy, and you know, I'm mad that he didn't get to showcase what he can do, and you know, end up getting humped at the end of the fight. I mean, it was devastating to me as a Paulo Costa fan.
The humping at the end was that's a little embarrassing, but I mean, he did it to himself. He put himself in a position where he got humped. You know what I mean? Like
they left it all on.
I thought it was really poor planning to like try to god him into a fight. It's a championship bout. Israel can stay outside and keep getting points, and you know, and Costa. I don't know. I wasn't in his camp. I can't tell you what their strategy was, but I felt like it was a very poor strategy. And you know, if he were to come into my gym, my recommendation would be like, he wants that brawl to happen, but you're not going to get the brawl unless you actually get him to engage. So chase him down. I think shooting for takedowns and trying to get him to the ground would be a great strategy. But you know, not my fight.
Not my chairman, not my problem. I absolutely understand.
I felt like after the first couple of hard leg kicks, maybe he switched. I think maybe his leg was fucked up. That's my opinion. He had to switch strategies because the leg was so fucked up.
The biggest problem too,
but I mean, go ahead. Sorry, David. Go ahead.
I think the problem too was Paulo Costa was just eating those leg kicks. He wasn't checking them. He wasn't defending them. He wasn't like, you know, reach down at least, like try to grab a leg and like, you know, that's your opening. Like, especially from a wrestler, if someone throws a leg kick, perfect. You know, that's your opening to a takedown or something. Like, and Gabe, obviously, you're gonna know better than me. But like, you know, I felt like there were so many openings to go for that takedown, so many openings to bring him to the ground, and he wasn't just not shooting takedowns, but he was also not checking kicks, and his leg looked completely black and blue. I mean,
yeah,
Jesus Christ,
it was bad.
You know, poor strategy, and poor execution. You know, I think he said some things in the news there that there's something going on, and he hasn't kind of said what that is, but you know, the strategy was a poor strategy, and there was no change up, and yeah, I someone like Israel, I think, need to be pressured and either fought in the inside or with kicks. I'm sorry, with takedowns.
Right. And even Paulo Costa, because he was recently in the news saying that he had like an injury or he had something going wrong with him, and you know, I think that's, and Gabe, you know, the coaches, you know, I was around, you know, you never make excuses. You know, the fight is won in the training room. It's also won in the cage. And, you know, if you get injured during training camp, that's just part of the territory. Nobody goes in 100%. I thought Paulo Costa, that was kind of like a cop-out. And, you know, if you get injured, fine, great. But don't make that as, I don't know. Did we lose Gabe?
Look, you take a championship fight, you should be in prepared for a championship war. It didn't seem to me like he was prepared for it. Like, I mean, like, because part of war is strategy, right? You have to come prepared, but you also need to have a proper strategy to go to war. Just didn't have it.
Yeah. And Conor McGregor back in the news. Apparently he did a bunch of blow and he decided to fight Manny Pacquiao in the desert. Yeah, I know. But he also might get a fight with Dustin Poirier. That might happen in the UFC. Dana White Conor.
Listen, I will give Conor all the credit in the world for business. Getting knocked out against Pacquiao and Mayweather are going to make him way more money than getting fucked for 2 to 3 rounds by Khabib.
I think that's a game plan now. Making money.
I mean, listen. If you're in this game to make money, he's making the right plays. Now, you know, when anyone talks about Conor as a fighter, I'll sit down and shut up.
Right.
But I'll give him all the credit in the world. Like, as far as business, like, look, dude, like, people are going to buy the Pacquiao fight. They like, and there are enough Conor nut huggers that believe he has a chance to win. So Vegas is going to make some money too. As a matter of fact, I think I had about $3,000 on the line with the bets for the Mayweather Conor fight. I'm giving 3-1 odds. No, I'll give 10-1 odds on the Conor Pacquiao fight. I'm taking Pacquiao.
And I'm thinking Pacquiao too. But and also Khabib fighting who's he playing next?
Gaethje.
Yeah. So that's gonna be a big fight. That's gonna be a big money fight. I think at this point in time, like Conor McGregor is kind of an afterthought. I mean, Khabib is the real superstar. He's a real guy. And Conor McGregor, I think he went out trying to prove that he was. Oh, this had a malfunction.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Welcome to my world.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Okay, continue the conversation, sir.
Yeah, no. So I think Khabib has surpassed. Well, no, he hasn't surpassed Conor because Conor is a mainstream star. But as far as skill set and ability, you can't even talk to about Conor in the same sentences as Khabib. You know. Now I think they could still use Conor. They could probably get another Nate Diaz fight out of him. You know what I mean? They could give him there are fights for him, and no matter what, he can make money for himself and he can make money for the company. But boxing Pacquiao is going to make it more.
He does not want to be a top tier fighter anymore. He does not. He does not want to be in this organization to be a champion anymore. He's there to make money. Plain and simple.
Yep.
You know, Khabib's the guy that's driving the force, and I think Conor went out to prove he was bigger than the sport. I think he went out there, tried to prove he's bigger than the sport, and I think he's now an afterthought. I think he was somebody's cup of tea, back in like 2014 or 2017. Now we're on to Khabib, who's a legitimate undefeated monster who runs through people. I think as fans, we're on to new and bigger and better things. And I think, I don't know how Manny Pacquiao versus Conor is going to do, but I'm more excited about Khabib's next fights, on the horizon than I am about Conor fighting Pacquiao.
I think the Gaethje Khabib fight is an interesting fight. If Gaethje can keep it on his feet, I've talked to multiple people that say he was I think he was Division II wrestler. Or is he Division I? I'm not sure about his wrestling credentials, but they said that Division II, but I think he was an All-American, right?
I believe so. I'm not too sure though.
Okay, but regardless, I've talked to multiple people that say his wrestling is legit. Now, one thing I can also say, and I can attest to from training with as many wrestlers I have, wrestling is one of those things that if you don't do it all the time, it gets stale quickly, and if you're focusing on striking versus wrestling, your wrestling is going to suffer because of that.
Right.
But
so
I mean,
you got Dustin or do you got Khabib? Who do you got in that fight?
You know what? I got to go with Khabib just because he's the pace that he sets and his ability to take it to his world, even when he's tired, even when things are bad. Like everyone talks about, I think like the Michael Johnson fight where Michael Johnson kind of rocked him, and I think someone else kind of dazed him a little bit. But dazing means nothing. If he still takes you down, if you don't put him out, like saying that you hurt somebody, that means nothing. And the fact that he's able to fight through that means even more to me.
Right. I think Khabib too. I think Khabib. I think as one of the guys that's going to retire undefeated. I think he has a problem that nobody has any sort of solution for. He has an answer for everything. He knows if he's losing a stand-up battle, he knows how to shoot for that takedown. Either bait someone to come into the pocket or overcommit when he's hurt, or go after the person where he's able to completely blitz somebody, overwhelm them, and then get that takedown, get him to the ground, and get him where he needs to be. And he's so strong and powerful in his grips. It's just.
What I am interested in, though? I want to see Khabib fight off of his back. I want to see someone that comes after Khabib and wrestle him. That hasn't happened at all.
Yeah, I think one fight, right? Or like somebody took him down, or there was one competitive fight he had where he fought this really big Jack guy. I can't remember the name, but like I think like one fight, one guy muscled him. Like one guy was able to take him down. I think. I'm not too sure though. I think one fight.
I haven't
I'm not too sure.
seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. To be honest, if I was in Gage's camp, I would have him take a Khabib down. Not try to force him the way Khabib forces him, but every once in a while, just to take Khabib out of his game.
Sure. Well,
and make him a counter wrestler.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
I think he's one of those guys that retires undefeated. And what Jon Jones too, back in the news, calling out Israeli, and calling out he's moving up to heavyweight. What's your opinion on Jon Jones and his soon-to-be debut at heavyweight? He's retired. He's not retired. He's coming to heavyweight. He's not going to heavyweight. Wants to fight Israeli. Like, what's your opinion on that?
I think Jon's just trying to stay relevant in the news. I mean, it's the same thing. Conor was doing it too. Like whenever things go bad, Conor does some stupid shit, and I think it's expressly just to keep his name relevant. I think I think the heavyweight division is Division 1 All-American. Okay, well, thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for the correction.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a Division 1 All-American. Okay, there we go. See, well, I mean, good wrestler. But back to the Jon Jones. The heavyweight division doesn't have depth. I actually think Jon would do really good at heavyweight if he put some mass on. Like I think him versus I think he would beat Ngannou. I think he'd beat Ngannou no problem. I think he would beat a lot of the guys. I think Stipe would be a hard fight for him. But a lot of the heavyweights, because it's not a deep division. I think him calling out Israel is just like, look at me, I want attention. Look at me, I'm still important. That's what I think that is.
When has the heavyweight division ever been deep? I mean, let's look at the UFC champions back. Like Pedro Hizzo had his feud with Randy Couture, and then Josh Barnett beat Randy Couture, and then he got caught with steroids, and then Rico Rodriguez fought Randy Couture. Rico Rodriguez won the title, and then he fought Tim Sylvia. Tim Sylvia won the title, and then he lost to Frank Mir. I always thought of the heavyweight division of always being paper thin in comparison to the divisions lower than that. Like and then Brock Lesnar came to town, and Brock Lesnar, as one-dimensional as he is, completely, he beat Heath Herring, which was fucking mind-boggling to me. I thought Heath Herring was going to be the final nail in the coffin. I thought Heath Herring was going to be able to deal with Brock Lesnar and bring him to dark waters that he's never been in his entire life, his entire existence. And he ragdolled Heath Herring and then beat Randy Couture, became the heavyweight champion, beat Frank Mir in the rematch. And then, you have that 1-2 superstars here and there, a sprinkle of them. But like throughout the history of the UFC, when has the heavyweight division ever been, super stacked with talent, like super stacked with guys that just don't like one punch kill somebody, like I've always felt like the UFC heavyweight division was always lacking a certain something.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the divisions go, I mean, like the lighter divisions just because there's going to be more people that are there. Like a lightweight in welterweight or deep divisions. But you know, yeah, like there aren't a lot of big guys that are athletic enough to you know, even like we look at any sports, like even boxing. What made Tyson so impressive was, you know, his stature and his ferocity. But most people say that the heavyweight division has never been a deep division.
Yeah. And the Mike Tyson division, the Mike Tyson era, so to speak, is completely, you know, gone. I mean, you got who are the big superstars in even boxing? I mean, you got Tyson Fury, got Deontay Wilder. I mean, can we name any heavyweight boxers nowadays that, you know, like capture the imagination of like a Mike Tyson era? Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like again,
yeah,
heavyweights, sprinkle of superstars, not necessarily like stacked. I
love the British guy. I can't think of his Tyson. Is that Tyson Fury? No, like the bare knuckle boxer dude.
Which guy is that?
I can't think of his name. Why am I not? Why am I'm brain farting on that. He's a heavyweight. He fought Tyson Fury. Like what? Why am I?
Go Google it.
Huh? Yeah, get on Google. Yeah, let's get that Google thing working.
Right. British guy that fought Tyson Fury. Let me see. Who the fuck? I know who you're talking about. I mean,
he always talks about like he has mental illness. He was like a gypsy boxer.
Well, that's Tyson Fury. He's the gypsy king.
Okay, that's what I meant. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, him.
Right.
Yeah, that guy's great.
We're just talking about Tyson Fury.
I don't know. That's how much I know about boxing. Oh shit.
All right, so our producers are saying that I'm so sorry to bring up and be the bearer of bad news, but Don Frye is not answering. So I'm bummed out. Fuck. I think you jinxed it, sir. When you brought up the Dog the Bounty Hunter story about him and the big fight with Dog the Bounty Hunter, I think you jinxed it, sir. Just saying.
I'm gonna tell you. I was gonna bring it up with him, and I wasn't sure how Don was gonna react to it, but I was willing to take one for the team.
Don, well, you have bigger balls than I do, but like I guarantee Don was gonna flip out and tell you to go fuck yourself, and like I think he was gonna be very, very upset at you, sir.
It's possible, but it also could be that he might find it kind of funny because I remembered the scenario and then I looked it up, and he said himself he was drunk as shit and on painkillers when the guy hit him, and the guy sucker punched him. So you can't be that upset about that, you know. But maybe. And listen, if he was mad about it and he wanted to come and talk to me about it, I'd be happy and happy to sit down and you know, hash it out with him. I mean, you guys will listen. He's been around forever. I mean, you know.
Of course you do.
I think one of my favorite.
I'll continue, sir. I'm sorry.
One of my favorite fights ever was in when he had the Japanese guy Nakamura, I believe, and both of them were just
Toshihiro Nakamura, I think, is his name.
And both of them had each other in the back of the head. They're just like, like this battle of attrition. I loved it. I remember watching it being like, holy shit, that's fighting. I love that shit. Yeah, you got like that guy. Yep. Pride has got so many fights that absolutely some of the best fights. And again, if anyone watching wants to go over history, watch the old Pride events, man. I think it's on the Fight Pass, isn't it?
Yeah, UFC Fight Pass. I still have Pride DVDs. Obviously, like being a nerd that I am, I still have Pride DVDs and plenty of fights on YouTube. But definitely on Fight Pass. Look at Pride. Look at Kazushi Sakuraba, and then view out all the other events. But like, great events, great fights. Some of the best fights I've ever seen in my entire life.
The Sakuraba versus Carlos Newton grappling exchanges are exceptional.
Fucking awesome. It was great. Even Carlos Newton versus Jose Pele was a great fight. That was a super fight. Yeah. Go on and on and on about this, but producer is gonna wrap us up.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're very, very sorry. Don Frye wasn't able to come on the show. We'll get him back on, just like Shoney Carter. Don't even worry about that. People have busy schedules. It happens. And, somebody that has a busier schedule than anybody is Mr. Gabe, and he's able to come on the show, and we really do appreciate him coming on. And
I like coming on. I like shooting the shite, if you will, talking about old times and getting to talk to new stars in the making, and like the veterans that we've had the opportunity to talk to as well is always great.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk to the producers. We gotta have an Ask Gabe episode about your adventures, because I think you have a lot of funny shit and a lot of good stories to tell. So I'm gonna talk to the producers, and we're gonna make this happen so we can nerd rage for maybe 1 to 7 or 10 hours. I don't know, however long. I'll probably have questions.
I'll give a little teaser. I was talking to Tim McKenzie on Facebook, who's a former fighter. He fought in the UFC, about a time that I fought 3 bouncers at a nightclub in Lake Tahoe, and seizure to go out to get out of going to jail.
Holy shit! Yeah. You told me about fighting like an NFL player when we were talking on Messenger. You told me about fighting an NFL player or some shit like that, and I was just like, oh my god, we gotta have an Ask Gabe episode. It has to happen. Producers, we have to make this happen.
Again, I'm very, very thankful for the life that I lived in the past. I'm not that guy anymore. I'm more laid back. I like to walk my dogs. I like to spend time with my kids. but as the time frame that I spent doing MMA was exceptional.
So Matt, the producer, we gotta hop in the DeLorean, gun it to 88, and we gotta have an Ask Gabe episode. I think it'll be worth everybody's while. And yeah, sorry, it's been a rough week. Obviously, I watched the debates and I've been drinking ever since. So I do apologize, guys. And we're about to wrap up the show, and we'll bring Don back onto the show. Gabe, any last parting words?
No, just stay safe out there. Things are crazy, but hopefully it will calm down and cooler heads will prevail. But I will be on every time that I can, and hopefully I see you next week.
Yep. And from me, of course, everyone stay safe. Everybody stay as mentally healthy as humanly possible. I know it's difficult because of everything going on, but stay as mentally healthy as humanly possible. So from all of us at Fight Mixer, we'll see you next Thursday. We'll have a lot of great guests, and hopefully we'll get in touch with Don Frye, and we'll bring him back on the show for a rematch just like we did with Shoney Carter. So from Gabe, from myself, from Matt, thank you very much. From the Fight Mixer, we'll see you next Thursday. Signing off. Peace, everybody.
Perfect.